Hi, I'm Marybeth Timmermann, and I'm going to read a few excerpts from my translation of Simone de Beauvoir's 1964 essay called What Can Literature Do?, which appears in the Useless Mouths and Other Literary Writings volume of the Beauvoir series. Published by the University of Illinois Press, edited by Margaret A. Simons and myself. What Can Literature Do? Was originally presented orally as part of a debate of prominent writers at the time. I'm going to start my reading at a point in the lecture where Beauvoir has been talking about the world as a detotalized totality, a swirling of all of our singular situations which are open to each other and envelop each other. She has just said that she believes that true communication is possible across this world, which is a detotalized totality, and that this communication is possible through our words and actions. Nevertheless, at the heart of this communication, there is a separation that remains irreducible. I who am speaking to you am not in the same situation as you who are listening, and none of those who are listening to me is in the same situation as his neighbor. He did not come here with the same past, nor with the same intentions, nor the same culture. Everything is different. All these situations which, in a way, open onto one another and communicate with each other have all the same something that cannot be communicated through the means taken at this moment, lecture, discussion, or debate. The singularity of our situation is an irreducible fact, but at the same time, there is a communication in this very separation. I mean that I am a subject who says I am the only subject for myself who says I, and it's the same thing for each one of you. I will die a death that is absolutely unique for myself, but that is the same thing for each of you. Each person's life has a unique flavor that, in a sense, no one else can know, but it's the same thing for each of us. And I think that literature's good fortune is that it can surpass the other modes of communication and allow us to communicate in what separates us. Literature, if it is authentic, is a way of surpassing the separation by affirming it. It affirms the separation because when I read a book that counts for me, someone is speaking to me. The author is part of his book. Literature only starts at that moment, the moment when I hear a singular voice. In fact, we accord much more importance to language than we sometimes admit. There is no literature if there is not a voice, and therefore a language that carries the mark of someone. There must be a language that carries the mark of someone. There must be a style, a tone, a technique, an art, an invention. It can be something completely different depending on the author, but the author must impose his presence upon me. And when he imposes his presence upon me, he imposes his world upon me at the same time. Okay, now I'm going to skip ahead to her conclusion. If literature seeks to surpass separation at the point where it seems most unsurpassable, it must speak of anguish, solitude, and death, because those are precisely the situations that enclose us most radically in our singularity. We need to know and to feel that these experiences are also those of all other men. Language reintegrates us into the human community. A hardship that finds words to express itself is no longer a radical exclusion and becomes less intolerable. We must speak of failure, abomination, and death, not to drive our readers to despair, but on the contrary, to try to save them from despair. Each man is made of all men, and he only understands himself through them. He only understands them through what they reveal of themselves, and through himself clarified by them. And I think that that is what literature can and should give. It should render us transparent to one another in what is most opaque about us. There are other tasks and other undertakings, action, technology, politics, etc. But these are destined for men anyway, and they become absurd, even odious, if they take themselves as ends, and if they cut themselves off from the human. I believe that literature's task is to safeguard what is human in man from technocrats and bureaucrats, and to reveal the world in its human dimension, that is to say, as it is disclosed to individuals at once connected and separated. And I believe that this is the task of literature and what makes literature irreplaceable. Thank you.